Hey there everybody, and welcome back. For those of you that are interested in pre-ordering or purchasing the new Samsung Galaxy S22, S22 Plus, or S22 Ultra, stay tuned. I'm going to be covering that process and be discussing the specs for each of these models in this video. Now before we get started, if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out the channel for new content. So jumping straight in, if you go to Samsung's website, you should see the pre-order option. After the pre-ordering has closed, you should just be able to purchase the phone like you would any other device. These are at a pretty good price right now for a couple of reasons. So first, you'll see when you get the S22 Ultra, you get a $200 instant Samsung credit. If I'm not mistaken, this is like they did with the S21, where basically you get $200 to spend as you're checking out to add an additional Samsung accessories. So you may be able to get a pair of headphones or two for free. Then you can upgrade the memory for free. So if we were to go ahead, so you'll see if you choose the S22, S22 Plus options, you can choose the device types here, or you can choose the S22 Ultra, which I'll be covering in more detail. Now we will cover the specs shortly. One thing to note is I would not factor in this price up top just because you don't have anything factored in as far as trade-ins and things of that nature. So if we choose the S22 Ultra, you'll see it scrolls us down, but we want to make sure we choose the price or the correct model. So you would want to choose unlocked if possible, or for whatever carrier is best for you. You'll see here that the 256 gig is the price of the 128 gig. That's the promo they're running, and then the 512 gig is the price of the 256 gig. So the idea here is the memory upgrades are free. So if you were to upgrade the storage, it's the same price as the previously priced storage option. So we'll choose, let's just say 512 gigs. Maybe we just want the Phantom Black because it has a pretty soon ship date, but they do have Samsung.com exclusives. Now here's where you're going to get the accurate price. If you choose no trade-in, you'll see that the price changes drastically to $1,200. You could also factor in a trade-in, so let's just say we wanted to factor in a Samsung S20. If we choose Samsung and then we scroll down to Galaxy S20, and if we just say, yes, I agree, so we'll say this device is in good condition, you'll see the payment or the total price change to about $901. Now, you see up here that this is Save an Extra with the Samsung Education program. So essentially you have a couple of choices when you're at their website. Typically you can click up here and they have different offer programs that you can join to take a little bit off the top for the overall price of the device. So that would be the price and the general process. As far as continuing with the pre-order, you would basically just click pre-order now and then go through the menu options that appear. So you'll see we have a $200 instant Samsung credit. So we could apply this to whatever device is here. So if you wanted, you could use it and maybe add some Galaxy Buds, things of that nature. And as long as you're staying under that $200 credit, you should basically just get those devices for free. And if it's over the $200, you would basically just pay the difference. So pretty cool option there. And then once you've chosen your devices, you would basically just skip add-ons and continue with the process. So that's really all that there is to the pre-order. You would fill out your information, make sure you have the payment set up, and then the correct shipping address. Now, covering the models themselves. So this year we have the S22 Ultra, 22 Plus, and just the standard S22. Now I'll be putting all of these links in the description along with links to the S21 and S20 Galaxy reviews that I did, just so you can kind of compare with previous models. But one thing that seems to stand out the most is that they have more color options for this year. So covering the specs of the devices, I'll have this link again in the description. But when we look at the S22, we're looking at the 6.1-inch display. The S22 Plus is 6.6, and then 6.8 inches for the S22 Ultra. Now looking at the displays, you'll see the options here. So you'll see that there's a 425 pixel per inch display for the S22, 393 ppi for the S22 Plus, and then 500 ppi for the S22 Ultra. And you'll also see they all have the 120 Hz refresh rate and HDR10 Plus certified. And then it does look like they all have the Infinity O displays. The thing that changes is the resolution, which is noted next to each model. Now, as we scroll down, you'll see the S22 Ultra is the only one with the S Pen. You'll see the device profile here as far as overall size and dimensions. Again, that only comes in the S22 Ultra. And you'll see other options that are provided here for things that you could basically use this device for. Then when we're looking at cameras, so you'll see that the S22 has a 10 megapixel front-facing or selfie camera, just like the S22 Plus, but the S22 Ultra has a 40 megapixel selfie camera, and you'll see all of the additional specs listed beneath for each of those. When we look at the rear cameras, that's where you're going to notice a very large difference. So for the S22, you have 3 cameras, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, a 50 megapixel wide angle, and a 10 megapixel telephoto. For the S22 Plus, you have a 12 megapixel ultra wide, 50 megapixel wide angle, and a 10 megapixel telephoto. So basically those are the same. Then you'll see you have the 3x optical zoom for the space zoom, and then the super resolution zoom up to 30x. And then when we go to the S22 Ultra, that's where you're going to start to see the big differences. So here we have the 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, 108 megapixel wide angle, 10 megapixel telephoto, and then the 10 megapixel telephoto as well. So you'll see this is the one where there's going to be a huge difference because you have the 4th camera added in and then just the added quality for these cameras or for these devices. Now, we're going to continue to scroll, but it is important to note that this has the 30x space zoom and all of the additional options here. So 100x space zoom includes 10x optical zoom. So you can tell that the cameras and everything built into this S22 Ultra really set this device apart. Now you'll see other options here like camera modes, intelligent features. I'm just going to basically stay here for a second so that you can see all of this, but most of this is going to be software specific. But although some of it could be hardware. So just worth noting there. Then you'll see useful features here. So you have camera settings, AR features, and then we'll go to video recording. So you'll see we have 8K video recording, 4K UHD recording, 1080p, and 720 HD video recording. You'll see you have your shooting speeds here, and then the other options down here. Now, performance is one that most people focus on. So when you look at the S22, you have a 3,700 milliamp hour battery. You have the S22 Plus with a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, and then the S22 Ultra with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. So the S22 Ultra comes with a very, very large battery. And then they have the charging options here. So it does look like the S22 Ultra is going to have some amazing specs, especially for the price. And then, no surprise, you have your 5G, non-standalone, and standalone options noted here, your LTE, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth and ultra-wideband options. Outside of that, we will look at memory next. So one thing that was a little disappointing is that the S22 and S22 Plus both come with 8 gigs of RAM standard, whether you get the 128 or 256 gig model. Whereas the S22 Ultra has 12 gigs of RAM for the 256 gig, 512, and 1 terabyte internal storage models. So that is a little bit unfortunate because the S20, if I'm not mistaken, came with the 12 gigs of RAM. So a little unfortunate, but overall not a massive difference, but just something that's worth noting. Then you'll see you have the SIM card options here. These are coming with Android 12. You'll see the audio options here, which you can kind of browse through at your convenience. Video playback, water resistance is IP68. And then you'll see the note here on the S22 Ultra's S Pen, a couple of sensor options, and then your security and authentication, and then your Samsung Pay, intelligence, and Bixby visions, edge panels, wallpapers, and then your always on display. So they have some different options for the always on display content. And then your other just general things to note. So you'll have what comes in the box, the wearable options. So that covers the bulk of everything. So you can look into more of the specifics as you're scrolling through this website. Again, this link is in the description, but that covers the basics to the devices themselves. And then the website here, which will also be in the description, lists the processor. So you'll see it has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 across the board for these 3 devices. So it is from what I've seen on their website, they are saying, if I'm not mistaken, that this is the fastest processor that they have in a device yet. And this is also the first Galaxy S device that has the S Pen included. So something that's really interesting to note there. But if you have any questions, drop them in the comment box below, and I'll see you all in the next video.